My name is Brian Fleming. I served with the U.S. Army's 10th Mountain Division while fighting the war in Afghanistan, and while I was there, I got blown up twice. I walked away from the first one, which was a double stack of anti-tank mines that were buried in the road. I had to drag one of my guys out who was catching on fire. A couple months later, I was attacked by a suicide bomber. I was inside my vehicle. He pulled his minivan right out in front of our vehicle, and he started going really slow. And so my driver went and passed him on the left. Well, I was sitting in the passenger seat, the front passenger seat. As we got right up next to the vehicle, all of a sudden the entire minivan just exploded. I just remember waking up lying face down in a ditch on the side of the road in Kandahar. I was burned and bloody, had no idea where I was. I had skin hanging off my face. I had blood pouring out of my face. I had blood on my body armor, blood on my boots and my uniform. As I was lying there, I didn't know how I got there. And the first question that went through my head in that moment was, why would I go to sleep here? I didn't know how I had gotten to that point where I was waking up in a ditch on the side of the road. Three days after the explosion, we arrived at Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. That was the first time I had seen my wife in about 5 months. And I remember the first time I saw her, she walked up to me in the hallway as I was laying on this gurney, and my face had all this really disgusting liquid that had come out of my skin that seeped out through the burn, because I had a full face and neck second-degree burn with third-degree on both of my hands. And so all these dried liquids came out of my face, and they were dried and encrusted on my face. It was disgusting. When you go through an experience like that, being tragically injured, just when you think it can't get any worse, sometimes it does. It's like a horror movie. You think the monster is dead, but guess what? Just when you think he's dead, he has one more breath left in him. Well, that was sort of the experience I had, because when they got me into the shower room, the head nurse looked at me. Him and about 3 other nurses all pulled out razor blades, and they began shaving and tearing and ripping the burned, charred, black, bloody skin off of my hands and my face and my neck while I was still awake and conscious. The head nurse, he had said they had to do this as quickly as possible. Well, it ended up taking about 30 minutes, which to me seemed like an eternity of pure physical hell. And that was the first time in my life I ever prayed to die. And nobody likes to admit that kind of stuff, but everybody has their breaking point. Being years down the road now, looking back on it, I'm so glad that I didn't get what I was praying for, what I was hoping for, because I didn't know what I was asking. And everything I had gone through, all of this tragedy, all of this pure physical hell on earth, this injury, I never imagined that anything good could really come from it. But I was wrong. So one day I'm at the medical center and this guy comes and he's speaking to me and about 20 other guys who've been blown up, shot up, burned up, messed up, missing eyes, missing arms, legs. We're one big jacked up, injured bunch of guys. And the interesting thing about the guy who came to speak is that he had half of his face burned off. He told us this story about how a white phosphorus grenade blew up right next to his head as he was poised to throw it in Vietnam and burned off half of his body, half of his face got taken off. He had done very well for himself and made something of his life. And that really gave myself and a lot of those other guys a lot of hope, because we saw somebody who had been there in the past where we were. Something happened in my mind that day. It was one little thought, but it's what I call the game changer. It's that thought that when you see somebody who overcame something, and you look at your own life and you think to yourself, you know what? If that guy overcame that, or if that lady overcame that thing, maybe I can too. And that's the thought that starts to change it. It's the 1 degree shift that changes everything. And you start believing that things are possible for you that maybe you didn't believe were possible before. And so that man actually went on to become my original mentor, my first mentor. And to this day, he's one of my best friends in the world. And there's no way I ever could have gotten from where I was to where I am now without that man having come into my life, because I saw what he had done with his life. He had been an author and speaker for decades after his Vietnam War injury. And I thought to myself, I don't know if that would ever be possible for me. Where would I even begin? Because I wanted to do something good with my tragic war injury. I didn't know what, but I began believing after meeting him that something good could come from it. And obviously after meeting him, I began realizing maybe I can tell people about my story and what I went through, and it'll help them in the same way that he tells his story and it helps people. So in reality, the biggest thing that made the difference, where I began realizing what I thought was once impossible was now becoming very possible. The connecting point there, I guess the glue that holds all that together and brought the impossible to a point where it meets the possible, was my realization that I can serve and I can help other people with my own life experience and make a positive difference in their lives, and to show them how they can overcome the things that happen in their lives that are tragic or painful.